Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Birthright here for you as we wind our way towards the end of the Voss coverage here. And today we get into what's called the Feral Lands, which is essentially not any like true domains or realms in that sense. As far as anybody ruling them, these are just wild domains, which present a lot of interesting roleplay opportunities, especially for characters if they're looking for some just higher level monster challenges, good old like hack and slash a little bit. There's all kinds of interesting things here. But let's jump in here with the first of these realms, the Battle Fens, a large, virtually unsettled area in northern Vosgard. We'll check the map in a moment when we get through the video. The Battle Fens has a storied history and an infamous reputation as well. It's protected slightly from the northern weather by the trees and the high peaks of those territories there, the Klesberg and the Grave-Nikivek forest. And most of it remains free of snow for about 3 months a year, which, wow, 3 whole months. But that doesn't make the land any more attractive to the nearby Voss of those territories there, Lutovsky, Velnoye, and Ropnino-Densk. Legends of the Battle Fens tell of a great war between the Voss of Velnoye, once one of the more preeminent realms, and the elves of Tuar Anwen. Unlike the peoples in the other lands of Cyrilia, the humans and elves of Vosgard never learned to live in any kind of peace, and basically, even long after the hunt of the elves there was banned, they still fought each other openly and caused all kinds of loss and devastation. The last great battle between the elves and the humans in Vosgard in an area known forever as the Battle Fens, which is what we're covering. As has been summarized in the player's chronicle, the elves were somehow aided in order to defeat the Voss forces and preserve their realm. In the process, though, they laid waste to the whole Battle Fens, and once nearly covered by trees of the Grave-Nikivek forest, nearly half the land's trees were burned and the land gutted by the ferocity of that battle. So fast forward to today in the modern Battle Fens. It's dark, foreboding, and some say haunted by its past, seldom visited by elves or men. The region has become a haven for some of the most dangerous creatures of Vosgard and monsters that may have origins elsewhere. You have frozen swamps, but ice-covered moors and uneven steppes. The trees of the Battle Fens echo the land's pain. All seem twisted, as if tortured by the very land that gives them life. Provinces and holdings. Only 2 known possible regions exist within this undeveloped land, essentially. One is Ferosk Slektra, which, again, level 17 wizard, and we're in Bloodline, considered chaotic neutral, and we've seen that wizard mentioned many times throughout our coverage here. Certainly controls a significant network of source holdings and may actually rule 1 or 2 provinces in the bordered wood. The other possible region is less certain. It's said a druid of Iraikon may live in the Hidden Grove. If so, she could have a temple holding or rulership in the province. Without any known human population in the Fens, though, that could be pretty unlikely, but some fertile ground for adventuring. Sites. So within the land known as the Battle Fens, 4 significant sites of interest exist. First up is the Frozen Swamp. Sheltered somewhat by the thick trees of the forest to the northwest, the Frozen Swamp appears to be the center of all the evil and dark memories preserved by the Fens. It is said that whatever magics and elves used to strike back at the attacking boss first manifested here. Such was the power of the magics in the trees, or that the trees formerly covering the area burst into flame, and the heat melted the frozen land. When the battle ended, the blood of countless dead elves, men, and other nameless creatures mingled with the land of the Frozen Swamp, and has refused to fully settle. It remains a stinking mire of death and old vengeance, right? And we could say, especially with the way that the blood magic and everything works, and could also be, sort of an intersection between the normal world and the shadow realm or shadow world. There's potential for all kinds of goofy and weird and twisted creatures. So very fertile sandbox for the DM there. Moving on, though, the bordered wood. Once a no man's land between Tuar Anwen and Velnoye, the forest between the 2 realms now has a third interest, the Sword Rust tribes. Called the bordered wood because neither man nor elf walks there without great cause. Only the Orogs of the Sword Rust tribes have dared to try and tame it. Few enough of them return to Chief Tulzimkur with any comprehensible reports, and none of those will revisit the wood, even under threat of death. Survivors believe that the tortured spirits of elves, or elven scouts, put cruelly to death by Velnoye's armies in the early days of the last battle, still walk the bordered wood, looking for some way to warn Tuar Anwen of a coming attack that ended centuries ago. Again, lots of fertile ground there for dealing with perhaps the undead and other nastier encounters. Moving on, we get the ice steppes. Uneven and full of pits and crags, the ice steppes of the Battle Fens actually seem unending because of their layered, uniform appearance. It's said that hunters who have strayed into the Battle Fens have walked for weeks before finally giving out, never seeing the swamps, forest, or coastline they hoped to follow to safety. The ice steppes do have inhabitants, though. There's what's called school zeki, or ice borers, and remoras both hunt there. So if you want some fun encounters, challenging encounters, there you go. And the ice giants of northern Cerealia are believed to make their homes in the hidden crags as well. So if you want, again, some upper level challenges, there you go. The Hidden Grove, then. More rumor than a geographic fact, the Hidden Grove appears as a province-sized stand of pine woods in the northern center of the Battle Fens. Older Voss trappers and scouts say the Hidden Grove is simply an ice mirage or a cold winter fantasy dreamed up by their youthful counterparts. More than one would-be explorer has lost himself among the ice steppes, hoping to find refuge in the Hidden Grove. So, again, lots of different options here for what we want to throw at the players. A lot of, again, open ground so that we can incorporate some very nasty, very challenging things for them to cope with. Not just the mundane here, but really getting into, again, weird and less common things found in Cerealia as well, just all around here. Legend or not, the Hidden Grove is rumored to have grown into existence only a few decades ago at the direction of some otherworldly power. The religious say a druid of Irikon, which is Eric, entered the Battle Fens at the direction of her god and is making an effort to heal the land from the inside out. Others think the Hidden Grove is some new trap of the Battle Fens, a glimmer of hope that will turn to the cold gleam of ice when finally discovered. So whether that's true or not, again, it's all there for the players to find out. Other just important NPCs, right? While the Battle Fens remains virtually uninhabited and unexplored, a very few people have visited and learned a few of its secrets. The most notable of those, again, is Ferosk Slektra, the mysterious elf wizard of Gravnikvek Forest. Many believe she's responsible not only for the Battle Fens' infamous reputation, but for the original devastation caused in the region. If that's true, the elves of Tuar Anwen are not grateful to her, for the fell speaker of Gravnikvek is not welcome in the northern elven realm. She makes her home somewhere in the bordered wood, perhaps near Blackhand Lake or among the jagged hills. Over many generations, Ferosk Slektra has gathered source holdings in neighboring Velinoye, the area controlled by the Swordrest tribes, and Lutovsky. No one knows how much Mayvale she has at her disposal, but with the Battle Fens at her back, it must be considerable. Every so often, she tests her strength on her unlucky Voss, Goblin, or Orog neighbors, raining fire, frost, and death upon a province. It's unknown whether she does the same to Tuar Anwen, but surely the elves can defend themselves from her power. While no living Voss claims to have met Ferosk Slektra, a description of the elf woman has surfaced in recent years, though. Described as wearing a hood and cloak and seemingly bent with age, she is said to have flawless pearl-white skin, thin, almost colorless lips, and black eyes. A few Voss believe she has vampiric tendencies, and that she could be some new kind of Anshe, which would be frightening as well. Her long white blonde hair occasionally sips out from her hood and give her an ethereal appearance, blowing about her face when there's no wind or curling up under her chin as if to protect her from the bitter cold. One of the only scouts willing to venture into the Battle Fens on a regular basis, Morris One Hand, it's level 9 thief and small bloodline, neutral good as well, of Ravinodensk, has been hired by adventurers from all over the world in attempts to penetrate the Battle Fens. Morris cheerfully tells tales of his adventures in the Fens and laughs at legends of vast treasures of magical weapons and supplies lost by elf and Voss armies in the past. He'll never hesitate to lead parties into the land in search of such hoards. Morris always returned from such adventures. Not all of his clients have been so lucky, though. A middle-aged halfling, he's taken on the mannerisms and dress of his human neighbors. His long, straight, and charcoal hair is worn gathered in a ponytail or wrapped around his neck in a carefully crafted braid. He prefers to fight with a pair of Voss short swords. No one knows where he was born or how he obtained the surname One Hand. He does have two, and he proves immovably obstinate when questioned about either subject. So, interesting character. Could be, an interesting path to him. Just, if there's an effort to get to know him, maybe, uh, sort of a side quest over to the burrows to maybe see if he's known there. The halfling realm again. Go visit our video on that when we were covering the Brecht territories. So that could be interesting, or just fishing for some other information on that. But so you have that as a potential way to get the players into there if they're just purely wanting to do like a little treasure hunt or something like that, and then seeing how that goes with him. Now he's neutral good, so he really shouldn't be backstabbing or betraying the party, but could be interesting to just get that as like an initial venture for the players. Maybe they can get some more out of them. But again, with Frost Selectra as well, so just purely like top tier dangerous individual there. So should the players encounter her, that could be potentially very deadly, very fast for them. So it would certainly be an interesting encounter, and probably one likely encountered more in the sense of what if you're in one of the other Voss realms, maybe there's some sort of effort to scout out part of the Battle Fens to see if any sort of information can be gleaned about her location, things like that, in case she were attacking the realm with again some of these realm spells and such. So last but not least, then always a fun little section here with this expansion where they put in like the DM's tips and secrets. So adventure in the Battle Fens should only be attempted by mid to high level adventurers. Definitely this is not for beginners, and then also only for good reason. Elven haunts, a type of banshee, again players can customize that, roam the bordered wood and the frozen swamp, and creatures such as the remoras and the ice borer make travel among the steppes nearly impossible. Add to these dangers the magic of Frost Selectra, an unpredictable wizard with a huge supply of magical knowledge and power, and you have a deadly combination. So, yeah, again, not for the faint-hearted should they try to attempt to adventure here. Also, a link to the Shadow World, as we discussed, always a great way to throw that in, especially with connections to the undead. So, as discussed in the section concerning Tuar Anwen, later in this section, we'll have a separate bit on that again. But we also had a review on that realm in particular. The source of the magical aid that rescued the elves from the Voss derived from the Shadow World. Someone, perhaps Frost Collector, or perhaps a combination of other elf wizards, broke down the barriers, excuse me, and bringing forth basically all sorts of terrible creatures and shadowy magical effects that the Voss couldn't possibly overcome. When the battle ended, these wizards could not fully close the curtain again, and the Shadow World gained a foothold in Cerelia, or another foothold. We also did want to mention, so here are some of the things that we're looking at, right? We have the Battle Fens, we have Tuar Anwen, which we've covered before, Mistmoor is all the way down there, and then also the Ice March, which is, again, venturing very far to the north on the map here. So, quick look at that, guys, and then we will continue our coverage. One such foothold exists amid the ice steppes. Experienced trackers do not get lost here because of any natural phenomenon. Shadow World has instead reached onto Cerelia to distort distances in the ice steppes, sometimes bending time and space. Only a character with an intimate understanding of both the Shadow World and Mossguard's Heartless Wastes could hope to lead a party through this region. So, and that could be one too, where maybe the characters do get lost in the Shadow World for a while, and have to find some sort of way to get themselves out, and maybe they come out in a whole other area and have to track back and just gain experience the hard way. Other strange monsters, because of the otherworldly nature of the Battle Fens, Arctic and subarctic creatures not normally seen on Cerelia can surface among the fens. These beasts make good hunting for the other monstrous inhabitants, or even daring adventurers, but most often they are the hunters. So, again, we can include any number of things there. And then finally, legends of the past. Rumors are true that weapons, armor, and powerful magic left from the last Elf Voss battle are preserved within the frozen swamp. Guarded by undead and shadow creatures, these items may also bear the stigma of that last battle. Many may be more powerful than anything previously found in Cerelia, but many bear curses nearly as powerful, strengthened by the nature of their bearers' deaths. Still, many adventurers have braved the frozen swamp and its dangers for these rewards, and legend has it that a few actually escaped alive with a lifetime's profit. So again, easy to stoke the flames of adventure and maybe even greed amongst the party, especially if they're getting into that mid to high level and really want to take a chance of finding some powerful gear, because Cerelia is definitely like a lower magic setting, so it's not like just everyone's walking around with copious amounts of magical items, weapons, armor, etc., trinkets, right? So a chance to actually find a location that has some good high level gear would present a very enticing opportunity. But obviously, there's some real dangers too. But again, this is a great set of setting because it links a lot of these other neighboring territories together, but with some very unusual threats that again take things from the mid to the high level in this setting. So again, especially if the characters want to encounter dangerous creatures and kind of up the level of the difficulty of things that they might face. Can't go wrong with again just high level monsters, remoras, etc. Tons of undead, curses, maybe even getting sucked over into the shadow world, dealing with things from there as well. There's just all kinds of great stuff. So it's a nice little separate area almost in the sense of finding all these different things, treasures, very high level characters, NPCs, and just bordering again on a lot of these different territories, and we'll link to some other high level areas in the setting. So whether the characters are actually lost or coming from other areas to maybe somehow adventure or find themselves in this part of the world, there's a lot going on here and a lot of great things the DM can throw at them too. So if there's ever chances to maybe venture from the main campaign and just look to do some essentially leveling up, but that could lead to more quests and adventures too, this is a perfect area for doing that. Let us know, guys, in the comments if you have ventured in and amongst the Battle Fens, how you've used that in your campaigns, and what you could pull from here. If you want to see videos like this early as well, hit us up on our Patreon. We've got a couple different tiers. Certainly enjoy everyone who wants to support the channel that way. You can do like a one-time donation or subscribe. Again, we got many different tiers, but you'll definitely get access to early things like these Birthright videos, and we got more content and stuff coming as well. Some of it will be purely exclusive to the Patreon, actually even including some new created items for players and DMs to use in the setting. So can't spill the beans and all that yet, but there's definitely some cool stuff coming. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.